selectivity of membership, congeniality of members. Those were two of the things they looked at, and they're the things that you need to look at if you think that you have a private club. Past Commodore Joe Tringali here, coming to you from the Academy of Yachting. And we left off last week with a very important issue for your club. Doesn't have to be a yacht club, it can be any kind of club. What we were talking about is, can you refuse membership based on one of the classes that is protected by federal law and state law, okay? Age, gender, national origin, race, religion, sexual orientation. No, you cannot exclude somebody from your public association if for the simple reason that they are a woman, or they're Italian, or they're Catholic, or whatever, okay? Those are protected classes. Now, let's talk about the problem that courts find themselves in all the time, because there is, after all, a First Amendment. And the First Amendment does say that you have a right to associate with the people that you care to associate with. You can't be forced to associate with anybody. After all, you're a citizen too. You have constitutional rights just like they do. Their constitutional rights are recognized under the 14th Equal Rights Amendment. Yours are recognized under the First Amendment. Courts constantly try to balance these two rights. And it was done recently. Most is 1995, but to lawyers, 1995 is last week. In a case called the Louisiana Debating and Literary Association versus City of New Orleans. The City of New Orleans had passed an ordinance requiring private clubs to register with the city and to re-register every 3 years. And the ordinance gave the city the right to withhold private club status, and this got into a very touchy situation. So anyway, the Louisiana Debating and Literary Society brought an action against the city, saying that this was unconstitutional. It turns out in Louisiana, if you've been there, if you've been to New Orleans, it's a beautiful old city, lots and lots of history going back into forever. And they take their traditions very seriously. And they do have some groups that they call the Literary and Debating Society. And they do meet in people's homes for dinner or cocktails or for whatever, and they do whatever they do. Now, can you just go join one of these associations? No. Most people don't know that they exist. They are very, very private. And so the case went up to the United States Court of Appeals, the Fifth Circuit, which is one step lower than the U.S. Supreme Court. The court balanced those rights that we've been talking about. Your right to assemble, other people's right to join. Okay? And they said, look, a private club has to meet certain requirements. Okay? And in deciding whether or not a club is private, we consider a number of factors. The organization's size, its purposes, its selectivity in choosing members, the congeniality of its members, whether others are excluded from critical aspects of the relationship, and any other factors that seem relevant. Those are the things that we consider, okay? The people on the other side said, well, wait a minute now, you're taking away our right to property. Why? Because a lot of these people in these literary debating societies, they know each other and they do business deals together because they get to know one another, and that's how you sort of move up in the world. And the Fifth Circuit said, it is well known that oftentimes it is not what you know, but who you know. And people often prefer, in any event, to do business with friends or acquaintances. Catch this. But this fact alone cannot be the basis for whether a club receives private association protection under the First Amendment. The court said, no. The literary and debating societies do not qualify as public accommodations. They are private clubs. And listen to what two of those factors were. Selectivity of membership, congeniality of members. Those were two of the things they looked at, and they're the things that you need to look at if you think that you have a private club. By the way, you probably don't, and we're going to get into the reasons probably next time around. Depends on if the clock starts ringing again. But when a person applies for membership and for some reason he is denied, okay, what happens next? Often that person sues your club. Okay? And you'll find, by the way, many club insurance programs protect against, or at least say they will stand in for the club in this kind of lawsuit. So how do you prevent yourself from being sued and losing? Don't forget, anybody can be sued for anything. But you want to win. Your first line of defense is your membership committee. If the membership committee consists of a bunch of old geezers who sit at the bar and say things like, did the check clear? You're in trouble. If the membership committee's recommendations to the board are, yeah, the check cleared, and everybody says, yay, aye, is the bar open? You're in even more trouble. You have to actually discuss applications for membership. You have to have some program where you show there is a selectivity of members. I've been on the board of more than my share of clubs, of course. And every time this issue comes up, I always ask the same question. Would I invite this person to my home for dinner? It got to be a joke. Sometimes people would actually present an application and say, well, I can guarantee that Commodore Tringali would not invite this couple to his house for dinner. And I would say, in that case, I vote no. If I don't want you in my home, then I certainly don't want you sitting next to me at the bar of my club. What's wrong with that? I have the right under the First Amendment of freedom of association. Now, I told you that under equal protection, which is the other right that's involved here, you cannot keep someone out because of those 6 characteristics, those 6 classes. But there's another class of people who everyone knows. We all know people in this group. And guess what? They don't have any constitutional protection at all. And if one of them applies for membership, you can say, no, we don't want you here. Why? Well, I'll answer that question next time. Next time, we're going to talk about the class of people who are not protected under the Constitution And even if you have a public accommodation rather than a very private club, yes, you can reject an application for membership from that class. Who are they? Well, time's up. I'm going to talk about that next time. For now, it's past Commodore Joe Tringali, Academy of Yachting, talking about club law, and we've got a long way to go. Okay? Goodbye for now, and signing off.